I'm glad we found the scroll, but I wish she could come with us.
Stay your weapons. I would speak with you, Quinarin. Cursed, not dead. Doomed to exist in this form for eternity. Trapped between Laas and Enoch. Between life and death. The hostility was necessary. I was bound to an oath. I believe in civility among seasoned warriors, and I find your ear worthy of my words. My claws have rended the flesh of innumerable foes, but I have never once been felled on the field of battle. I therefore honor you Quinarin, or Vanquisher in your tongue. Your words do me great honor. My desire to speak with you was born from the result of our battle, Quinarin. I merely wish to respectfully ask a favor of you. For countless years I've roamed the Soul Cairn in unintended service to the Ideal Masters. Before this, I roamed the skies above Tamriel. I desire to return there. I fear that my time here has taken its toll upon me. I share a bond with this dreaded place. If I ventured far from the Soul Cairn, my strength would begin to wane until I was no more. I will place my name with you, and grant you the right to call my name from Tamriel. Do me this simple honor, and I will fight at your side as your Graze Mazen, your ally, and teach you my Thum. Trivial in your mind, perhaps. For me, it would mean a great deal. I don't require an answer, Quinarin. Simply speak my name to the heavens when you feel the time is right. There was a time when I called Tamriel my home, but those days have long since passed. The Dova roamed the skies, vying for their small slices of territory that resulted in immense and ultimately fatal battles. I was, but unlike some of my brethren, I sought solutions outside the norm in order to maintain my superiority. I began to explore what the Dova call Elok Gillan, the ancient forbidden art that you call necromancy. The Ideal Masters assured me that my powers would be unmatched, that I could raise legions of the undead. In return, I was to serve them as a keeper until the death of the one who calls herself Valerica. I discovered too late that the Ideal Masters favor deception over honor, and had no intention of releasing me from my binding. They had control of my mind, but fortunately they couldn't possess my soul. Free? No. I have been here too long, Quinarin. The Soul Cairn has become a part of what I am. I can never fully call Tamriel my home again, or I would surely perish. I only hope that you will allow me the precious moments of time there, through your call.
Look at the sky. What kind of place is this? I don't think anyone's ever met the Ideal Masters. I'm not even sure anyone knows what they look like. They could be underground, flying above us. They might be the ground. I have no idea. Lots of theories. Some say they feed on them like I feed on blood. Others think they use them as payment for an even higher power. Almost like currency, a very strange currency. Whatever they're doing with them, they've been harvesting for millennia. No telling how many souls are trapped here. Look around you. There are some extremely powerful undead here. Even a necromancer as seasoned as my mother would be willing to spend years trying to gain access to them. Exactly. It's a lost art. Most necromancers just raise up whatever bodies are nearby. A simple trick, really. Child's play. But bringing something from the Soul Cairn gives you something much more powerful. Well, that's usually the trick. It's possible to do it through a simple portal. But to finalize the deal, you have to travel here yourself. And most of them never come back. Nothing else then?
I'll try and make this work. Oh,
Are you alright?
and you thought I was just a pretty face. Ooh, the
I'm glad we
things I
found
could
the
do
scroll,
now.
but I wish she could come with us. Come on, let's go home.
I'm going to enjoy this. All right, let's do this.
couldn't resist my company. You have? That's wonderful! Here, give him to me. Well, with any luck, this will be enough to get the Master's attention again. Even my track record pales in comparison to most souls. They're suckers, right? What did I tell you? Alright, time for a date with destiny, as they say. Wish me luck. They're not exactly known for conversation. Hopefully we'll meet again, and they'll have a proper body this time. No more Soul Cairn, no more wailing, no more ghostly apparitions. A proper bed, food, women, and more gold than you can shake a stick at. Here I come, Tamriel. First round's on me.
Brought some soul hut? Sure, got plenty. What am I gonna do with it? Oh, wondrous blade. Never mind. Just take the darn thing.
The sooner we get the scroll home, the sooner we deal with my father.
have my back.
And I'll...
Not quite good at this, are you?
Why can't I just... I fear I'm cursed to walk this desolate land forever.
The sooner we get the scroll home, the sooner. We deal with my father.
Last mistake. I'm going to enjoy it. You know, you could have waited. I'm calling it. This one's in the bag. Teamwork right there. The sooner we get the scroll home, the sooner we do what we love it. Who's there? Did you even see them coming? Last mistake. Give up while you still can. And you thought I was just a pretty face.
saved him! His soul is free, I can feel it! He's such a loyal beast. Here, I'll teach you how to call him to you. He'll help you get around this wretched place. But I'm sure he'd be much happier someplace sunnier. Goodbye, hero. Take good care of Armor for me. Such a good horse.
sooner we get the scroll home, the sooner we do with my father.
Oh? What is it?
I can't say it surprises me. I kind of figured we were heading for this someday. I just didn't know when. If. I've been assuming that's where this is all going. I've been trying to make my peace with it. Come on, we can talk about this another time.
Are we ready then?
Drop something. You sure you don't need it? I think now would be a good time to talk. I wasn't sure we'd make it out of there in one piece. I know this sounds weird, but I felt kind of scared. For you. For both of us. The Ideal Masters could do anything, really. They could have trapped us there for one. I wouldn't like to be a hostage for eternity. Again. Maybe you're a pile of talking script jelly. The Ideal Masters are real. Everything I said about the Soul Cairn was real. There are trapped souls, cryptic, floating entities. We fought an undead dragon. What we saw basically spelled out everything I had read about that place. The Soul Cairn, realm of oblivion as ruled by the Ideal Masters. And of course you didn't see them. They're called unseen for a reason. Ugh. Wait. You're just messing with me, aren't you? It's not funny. Maybe next time, I'll be the one to personally soul trap and place you in the Soul Cairn. See how you take that.
You really don't give up, do you? Seriously. I'm just glad it's all over. I know I can be moody sometimes, but honestly, I appreciate that you're keeping our spirits up. Thanks. Look, there is something I'd like to tell you, and I really feel like now's the time. Do you like me? Not just as a friend, but as something else? I think you know what I mean. Then, hopefully this won't be awkward. Wow, it's nice, actually. You are so nice and... Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to... I feel free, for once. I didn't mean to jump you like that. I just wanted to do it my way this time. To conquer my fear and do the very thing that still gives me nightmares on my terms. It had to be someone I trust. It had to be you. I used to see intimacy as a way to deceive, to take advantage, and most of all, to demonstrate power, control, domination, degradation. It's like, all my life, I've only ever seen a facade. I just wanted to experience what it's really meant to be like for once. With you. Thank you for that.
I'm no fan of the sun, but it would be better than this. I'm no fan of the sun, but it would be better than this.
The city is under attack. Get inside and bar the door until the fight is over. We are also looking for volunteers. If you are willing to aid us in this battle, you shall be generously rewarded. What will you do, citizen? Will you volunteer, or will you stay? Looks to be a bunch of bandits. We'll show those bastards that they have picked the wrong city to raid. My thanks. Follow me. My men and the other able fighters will be waiting outside the gate. Everyone, keep yourselves safe. Everyone, to your houses now! We are under attack. To your houses quickly!
Yes? Okay, let's trade.
Hold your positions! Get ready! Show these motherless hawkers who this city belongs to! In the name of the law, stop!
Now that's how it's done.
This is in your debt.
Someone like you.
That's not good enough, are you? Are you okay? Just stay close.
Not impressed!
Dead.
Need something?
You've done it! Now that was quite a battle. Here, your service is worthy of these gifts from our Jarl. Long live the Jarl!
From the castle, you used to just be able to see Solitude over the mountains. It's exactly what I imagined. Oh? What is it? Understood.
Welcome to the Winking Skeever. Take a load off and enjoy the atmosphere. Fancy robes. You a wizard or something? Welcome to the Winking Skeever, friend. Take a look. Of course. Remember? Winking Skeever next time you're footsore.
This city is disgusting. There is only one estate to cause it, and the Imperial's not haste. Stand back. Their smell is offensive. Yes? What brings them to Khajiit?
What do you want to talk about?
All right, if you say so.
By the gods. Well, I don't even know what to say.
Welcome to Bits and Pieces. I'm sure you'll find what you need here. Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures. Come back to Bits and Pieces anytime.
There's no end. Blades, helmets, pretty much anything to suit your needs. Looking to protect yourself or deal some damage?
Come in and shut the door. Oh, what delight. And take a look. Oh, let me just drop everything. You'd think so, wouldn't you? I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Thank the gods for the end of yet another pointless conversation.
I love your style. You're looking good today.
Feel free to look around. We have a fine selection of herbs here at Angela's Aromatics. It's good to see a fresh face. Ah, so you're an alchemist then. forget me next time you need herbs and potions.
Welcome. Let me know if you want anything. I think I got a clean mug around here somewhere.
Yes?
What brings you here?
Hey, even I can get tired every now and then. Finding
Is there something you
a place to
need?
just relax.
What is it, stranger? If you're looking for work, I'm not the person to ask. Now there's a strange request.
That's all I can spare.
I suppose there's no harm in it. Go on then. Grab a drink and sit down. I'll warn you now, friend. I'm not exactly known for conversation. The swill in here isn't worth drinking much of either.
Welcome to the Winking Ski. Drink for the thirsty, food for the hungry. Remember the Winking Skeever next time your foot's sore.
Many things. When you've lived as long as I have, some of them might even be worth remembering. No, I suppose not. What you have to understand, however, is that I'm not about to relive the past, simply because we share a flagon. Very well. I'll talk with you. What do you want to know? Nothing. But I suppose that's the problem. My name is Yagir, but back when I was younger, they called me Stormhand. A silly name, but the life of a warrior tends to leave its mark in any number of ways. Yes, but those days seem like they were a lifetime ago. Too old. I have lived far past my time, where countless younger men now feast with shore. I do, but most of them have faded into memory after all these years. For the longest time, I thought I was Talos Reborn, or the Great Dovahkiin. The foolishness of youth, and an unwillingness to let cooler heads prevail when my blade was in hand. All across Skyrim, even down past the Geralt Mountains, I traveled from town to town, cave to cave, seeking thrills and adventure, from days of slaying Draugr and bandits, to nights of feasting and womanizing in the local taverns. I was unstoppable. But those days are behind me now. You are still young, and you have the whole world ahead of you. Enjoy it while you can. It won't last forever. The same thing that changes anyone. Love. I met my wife while working in Whiterun Hold. A group of rogue students from the college had set themselves up nearby to attack travelers. While they no doubt needed food and supplies as any of us, it soon progressed from stealing to outright massacring everyone in their way. I'd been hired by a group of local farmers, led by 2 patriarchs, to track the mages and put an end to the attacks. The sites had already been cleared by the guards, and anyone I talked to in town were either scared stiff or didn't know anything.
I heard that another warrior was also on their path, a fierce, red-headed Nord woman, and I welcomed the challenge. There was nothing wrong with some competition, after all, especially with a warrior of equal skill. However, the winter rains had set in, and as any hunter can tell you, this only made finding my targets more difficult. For days I searched the region, but there was no sign. Tired and annoyed, with days since my last fight, I made the journey back to Dragon's Reach. As I was making my way back, I crossed paths with the merchant near the western watchtower. The rains were relentless as Kain's wrath fell from the heavens, and the merchant was huddled in furs, with an old horse in tow. With barely a hint of sunset poking through the gloom and rain, I walked over and asked them if they needed help back to the city. The woman smiled at me and threw back her hood, red hair and a twinkle in her eye. Before I could even respond, a lightning bolt came crackling through the rain, and she threw herself forwards, knocking both of us to the ground. The mages had sneaked up on us, and I cursed myself for not being more aware, outclassed by my rival no less. The rain was endless and difficult to see in, but it was as much of an advantage to us as it was the attackers. I remember pushing myself up from the soil to see one of the mages come running up, a dagger in one hand and a fire spell in the other. As quickly as I could, I unsheathed my weapon, rolled to the side, and brought it up in a swing, putting all my might behind it. The mage crumpled to the ground, and I leapt toward another of them, tearing through their barrier and running my blade through their chest. My friend was being attacked by two mages, but fought them off with a sword and a makeshift shield formed from a section of the cart. I went to help her, only to find another 3 mages moving towards me. Clearly, they thought to overwhelm us with numbers. Perhaps, but they certainly fought like a horde of hag ravens, and the wilderness had toughened them. Aye, but not without ending up with scars of our own. The rain continued to pour down, and the Whiterun plains were too open to try for any strategy. The woman and I ended up back to back, the group of mages almost having exhausted their magical reserves. At last, we found an opening and finished the rest of them off. By that point, our clothes had been soaked with rain and blood, and we were both tired. We agreed to wait till morning and sought refuge in the watchtower, abandoned back then. The fire pit was serviceable, and some old furs and hay were enough to form a place to rest. There was only room for one of us, but we found a way to make it work, and it kept the two of us warm until the rain passed. Next morning, we returned to Dragon's Reach and told those farmers that the job was done. I was already taken with her by then, and we agreed to split the gold equally. After living a free life on the path, I wanted to be with her. I couldn't contain myself. By the city gate, I told her how I felt in one nervous outpour. I must have looked like a fool. She just stood there, watching me as she listened intently. When I was finished acting like a boy with his first crush, she smiled softly. To my surprise, she leapt forward into a hug and kissed me on the cheek. Love. True, God's damned love. From that moment onwards, I gave up the womanizing, and we lived a life on the road together. I was a warrior in my prime, and had the love of my life to match. I couldn't have asked for a greater gift than her. We were an odd sight, 2 warriors working together. Most of the time, it's easier for adventurers to go their own way, but we didn't mind it. She was so beautiful, I can't even begin to describe it, and she showed me there was so much more to life. 2 young warriors, fierce and in love. For years, we took work across Skyrim, even further on occasion. and lived however we liked. Most of all, we were together. But those days can't last forever. After being married under the eyes of Mara, we agreed to settle down and move to a small farm on the outskirts of Shore Stone. By then, she was with child, and we couldn't risk any more fights. We hung up our weapons on the wall and started a new life together. I wanted to be with her no matter what, but it wasn't that easy. You seem like the adventuring sort, so perhaps you can sympathize. All my life had been spent in battle, and there I was, a mountain of a man that didn't know one end of a hoe from the other. I was no farmer. I was built for war, not milking cows. Winter came and went, and she gave birth to a baby boy, my son. I thought he was pathetic. All the mewling like an animal. He would cry all night, or otherwise sit gurgling on the floor, babbling in the way that children do. Soon's breath. What on earth was I supposed to do with him? I didn't know how to be a father. I tried. I really did. But all it did was make my wife's day more difficult. She had a way with children, as if she'd been destined to be a mother. And then, well, then it all comes back to the Great War. After years of living as an adventurer on the road, I decided to enlist with the Legion. Even if I couldn't help our home, I could, at the very least, help protect my wife and son. Battle was in my blood, and it would be good to get back in the field. Or so I thought. Great might be in its name, but I witnessed unimaginable cruelty, and no one walked away from it without scars. When I returned, my boy was almost 2 winters old. It was strange, really, when time passes and stands still. My wife had pleaded with me not to go, not to throw away everything we'd built together, but she was relieved to see that I was still alive. Of course, but what I had seen in the war had put all thought of bloodshed from my mind. I was content, at least, to live out my days in peace, even if life on the farm had its hardships. The boy even started to grow on me, and it felt like we were finally a family. Yes. One day, my son must have been 3 or 4 years old by then. I was out with the cows when a group of bandits came riding up. They demanded gold for our protection against any threats before riding off, saying that they'd return in a few days. It was all nonsense, of course, but I had a family to look after, and both my wife's and my own weapons had been gathering dust above the fire. We talked for a long time and decided that we would pay them, at least for the time being. The farm had set us back quite a lot, but we had spent years building up a small fortune on the road. In hindsight, it was likely word of that fortune that brought those bandits to us in the first place. Huh, gold. What good are symptoms? True to their word, the bandits came back a few days later. I remember that day, because the afternoon light made the leaves look like they were on fire. But they came in greater force than we were expecting. As I handed the gold to their leader, he knocked it out of my hand and spat in my face. They wanted all of it, or they would kill us. I would have torn him limb from limb right there, but I had a family to look after. I turned and walked slowly towards the house, my wife glaring from the doorway. She was dig on himself whenever she got that look in her eyes and her arms were crossed, but all she did was glare at the bandits. I never got the chance. As I moved inside, carefully watching the bandits from the window, one of them had crept up to the side of the house and set it on fire. When the smell of burnt wood hit us, I reached for our weapons above the fireplace and threw my wife's sword in her direction. They were hoping to burn us and the fortune out in one go. The bastards. A volley of arrows tore into the side of the house, and we threw ourselves down on the ground before crawling out, using the smoke as cover. It had already begun to fill the house, that smell that clings to your throat. But we could still save our home. We just had to move quickly. My wife leapt towards the ones waiting by the horses, while I ran around to the side, near the trees where the others lay in wait. The thrill of battle might be exhilarating, but fighting for your home and loved ones is another thing entirely. It's all-consuming and ruthless. The bandits were slain, one by one, and the two of us fought in battle, one last time. I managed to save the house, but it was badly damaged. Then we were both injured in the fighting. We were safe and alive, and then it hit us. Before the bandits had arrived, my son had been laying down to sleep for his afternoon nap, hoping that whatever happened, he'd be safe. But in that very same wing of the house, where the fire had started, I kicked in the door and found him exactly where he was, lying on the cot I'd carved for him a few weeks earlier, and he wasn't breathing. I could barely contain myself as I took his body in my arms and walked out slowly to where my wife was waiting. I didn't have to say anything. As soon as she saw him, she collapsed to the ground and wept her heart out. It broke me. As much as we loved each other, that was the end of everything. I left my blade behind me, and I have been out here ever since. Pray that you never have to go through such a thing, traveler, for not even the gods can bear it. You don't have to say anything. All I need is a warm drink. Gods know it's been cold out there. No, that ship has long since sailed. Last I heard, she was in the palace at Windhelm. Her shield maiden days well behind her. We aren't enemies by any means, but even love can't survive the death of a child. It was for the best that we went our separate ways. I still love her, gods, with all my heart, but what we had was in the past. Now, well, now, all the two of us have are the memories together. His name was Torin, my boy, my son.